What is going on, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video on my channel. My name is Sean, aka Elite, and today's video is going to be about the top 15 La Liga players in FIFA 22 Ultimate Team. If you've missed it, we already dropped the top 15 Premier League players and also dropped the top 15 U23 players in FIFA 22 Ultimate Team. So check those videos out after you watch this one. Anyways, guys, if you're enjoying the daily uploads, make sure to drop a like on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's hop right in to the rankings. Right off the bat, you guys can criticize me because I know I put Aguero as an 85 rated in last week's downgrade video, and I still kind of think he might be 85 rated. He might be 86 because right now he's listed as 87, and I think he's definitely getting downgraded farther than that. He's going to be between 85 and 86 for me, but it just depends on what EA are feeling. And you can't deny he hasn't had a good year. He had a terrible year for Manchester City, barely putting in 5 goal contributions in the league. He did play a little bit in UEFA Champions League, which is kind of the case for him right now. But he also didn't play much for Argentina. And ever since his transfer to Barcelona, he's been injured. So not a good year for Aguero. He's going to get a downgrade, but still scrapes in to that top 15 for La Liga rankings. Next up, we've got Jordi Alba. He's been one of the best left backs in La Liga for a very long time, maybe even the world for a very long time, and I think he's still going to hold that rating going in to FIFA 22. He's going to get a couple of stat downgrades on his card. Not enough to downgrade the overall rating of the card, but his pace is going from 88 to 86, his physicality down by 1, etc. His card's still going to be very usable, but nothing spectacular. He used to be very meta a few years ago in FIFA when his pace was like 93, 94. Losing some of that pace as he gets a little bit older, and you'll see a few downgrades on pace especially in this video. A -1 for Sergio Busquets, I guess, is fair, but I think it's slightly harsh because he has been, still the main man at that position for Barcelona. He's played pretty much every single game of the last season. He's still a great player. He's not what he used to be when he had Xavi and Iniesta and Messi to work with, but he's still a great player. Again, getting into his 30s is not helping his rating out. EA are very harsh to players that are getting older, and that's just been the case for a while. I remember back in FIFA 14, Di Natale, if you guys remember that amazing player, he was 85 rated in that game. He got 3 informs, had a pretty good season at Udinese in Serie A, and then they downgraded him by 7 ratings. He went to 78 rated the next year. I mean, they have no mercy once you hit 30 years old, and that's what's been the case ever since. I don't know if there's been any as extreme of an example as the Di Natale example that I used, but they definitely downgrade older players a lot quicker than they downgrade the younger guys. At this rate, the whole video is going to be Barcelona players. We got Griezmann, another 86 rated Barcelona player. 80 pace, 83 shooting, 84 passing, 87 dribbling, 72 physicality. It's a well-balanced card, but you definitely want more pace on him, but very usable to start the year. We'll see how quickly he falls into SBC fodder, and again, I don't know if I agree with the -1 on this card. That's what he shows currently in the SoFIFA and career mode database, which is EA basically saying, hey, he's going to get a downgrade. But I don't know if he deserves it. I think he still had a pretty decent season last year, and I think 87 is just fair enough, but they're going for the -1 on the card. He's still a respectable rating, but let me know if you agree with this downgrade because I'm kind of iffy on it. Here's a card you guys already saw back in the downgrades video. It's Eden Hazard getting a -2 on his card, and a couple of -1, -2s on the individual stats as well. He's obviously struggled to adapt to Real Madrid ever since his move from Chelsea. A lot of injuries, a lot of fitness issues. Hasn't been putting up the numbers that he used to be putting up in the Premier League, but still an okay card. He hasn't really fit the meta of FIFA in the last few years. Although his stats look good, he hasn't really performed well in gameplay, so we'll see if he can make a comeback to kind of the FIFA meta this year. I'm hoping he does. Next up, we've got Papu Gomez at 86 rating, and he did make a mid-season transfer from Atalanta to Sevilla, which it's tough to adapt in mid-season. I can't say he had a great year, but he definitely didn't have a bad year either, and if you were to downgrade him in a season that he made a mid-season transfer, I think that would be extremely harsh. His card's going to look good, though. 88 pace, 87 dribbling, 84 passing, 78 shooting, and he's short, so he's going to have that agility as well. So he's one of the more fun cards to use in FIFA, I think, every year, especially at the start. So if you're building a La Liga team, you definitely want to throw this guy in there. He's going to be pretty much the only player that's not from one of the big three teams, which is Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. I think he's the only one out of the top 15 that is not from those three teams. Luka Modric, the 2018 Ballon d'Or winner, is going to also hold the 87 rated that he had in FIFA 21. There's not much to say about the card. He's had an okay season. Real Madrid and Barcelona both struggled as overall clubs, so you're not seeing as many upgrades in this episode as you saw in the Premier League episode, where players had a lot better seasons. Just the Premier League overall had a really good year, with a lot of their clubs going to, you know, the semifinals and finals of Champions League, with Chelsea and Man City making the finals of that. And then also they're signing a lot more players than other leagues. They seem to have more money post-COVID. So that episode saw a lot more upgrades. La Liga, on the other hand, struggling financially, not signing as many players, not having as good of years, and you're not seeing as many upgrades. But an exception to that is Frenkie de Jong with a +2, and deservedly so. He's been a great young player for Barcelona. He's one of the players that adapted immediately to that transfer from Ajax to Barcelona, and Dutch players seem to always excel at Barcelona, and you've seen Depay already scored his first goal this weekend for Barcelona as well. We'll see if that hyperlink ends up being a cool link up in FIFA this year between De Jong and Depay. But 87 rating for De Jong. His card's going to be pretty well balanced. His 87 dribbling is going to be the stat that stands out. Hopefully he gets a couple upgrades so that you can use him past the first couple of months, because it's only a matter of time before his card kind of leaves the scene in terms of the meta as other cards get upgrades. So hopefully he'll get an inform or maybe a Halloween card or a Futmas card just to keep him relevant in FIFA 22. We continue to have absolutely speed demons in this video, with Toni Kroos being number 7. He's not going to have a very good card in FIFA. In fact, I think he'll be one of the first players to enter into SBC fodder. He's still going to have that 88 rating. He's still, you know, a main man for Real Madrid, a main man for Joachim Löw in the German national team, as long as Joachim Löw continues to be manager, at least. I don't know how much longer he's got left there after how terrible their Euros performance was. But he's going to hold his 88 rating. I think he's still a world-class player, and we'll see how he can do this year. Next up is Luis Suarez. I don't have his updated face scan, so we're just going to throw on the one from FIFA 21. His card, again, pace has been the problem for everybody in this episode, but I think he deserves an upgrade. He had over 20 goals and a few assists for Atletico Madrid in the last season. I think he continues to perform very well. I think he's been one of the most underrated players over the course of his career. He's just an absolutely world-class player. So I think he's going to go back up to 88 rating. I don't think he maybe really even ever deserved to go down to 87 rating, but he's headed right back up. Up next, we've got Casemiro from Real Madrid, and on this card, this was one of the ones that I really heavily debated on what his rating was going to be. I personally think 89 is the most fair. I don't think he should change in rating. I don't think he had a bad year, but I guess EA are kind of thinking maybe a -1 downgrade. It's tough for this card, and I think that if you predict 88 or 89, you could be right either way. Let me know in the comments down below, because this was probably the one of the episode that I was the most iffy on. For this one, I honestly think that most Barcelona fans would probably say, hey, he probably deserves an even bigger downgrade than -1 from 90 to 89. That's what I've got him at, is 89 rated, and the 4th highest rated La Liga player. Obviously, he and Messi had their differences, so if you're a Messi fan, you're probably not also a Ter Stegen fan, unless you're an overall Barcelona fan. But I think he's still a pretty great goalkeeper. I don't know if 89 rating is pushing it for him at this point in his career, but it's not like he's old, and none of these players to finish this episode, in terms of goalkeepers at least, are old, especially for goalkeepers. I mean, you saw Gianluigi Buffon, you can play into your 40s no problem. So I don't think any of these guys are getting downgraded because they're about to hit 30 or anything like that. I just think that 90 rating is such a hard rating to hold on to, so a -1 is fair. You could maybe argue -2, but I think 89 is going to be what we end up seeing. Thibaut Courtois actually had a pretty good year, and I think a lot of people thought he was going to fall off. His last year with Chelsea wasn't great. His first year with Real Madrid wasn't great, but he has really done well to recover from that. I think he's maybe been the second best goalkeeper in the league for the past 2 years, behind Oblak, who will be later in this episode, and it shows, being the second highest rated goalkeeper in FIFA. So I think it's fair to have him hold on to the 89 rated card. 84 diving, 88 reflexes, 89 handling. I read out these stats as if they matter for FIFA gameplay. They don't really matter. I mean, there's some years where, you know, the highest rated goalkeeper might be the best player for goalkeeper, and sometimes it's Jack Butland, a 78 rated goalkeeper from Burnley, so you never know. Karim Benzema, 89 rated. You could argue maybe an upgrade. I think he was probably the best player in La Liga as a whole last year. He's going to hold on to that 89 rated card though, and his card, again, I guess pace is just not what EA are seeing in these players in La Liga. But 74 pace is, again, the stat that kind of brings this card down. I think you could argue for more physicality as well, but he's got good dribbling. He's got good shooting. He's a good hold-up striker as well. He distributes well. That's obviously a big part of Ronaldo at Real Madrid, was how well Benzema was able to distribute and hold up the ball for him. So I think that he's been another underrated player throughout his career and is starting to finally get that recognition and respect he deserves. He kind of lived in the shadow of Ronaldo for so much of his career that it took Ronaldo leaving for us to realize how good Benzema actually has been. And finally, we have Jan Oblak. Atletico Madrid had a very good year last year. Oblak, a key piece to that. Maybe the best goalkeeper in the world, you could argue. I still think it's probably Manuel Neuer, and that hurts me to say as a Dortmund fan. But Oblak is up there with him, and he'll have the highest rated card, no doubt, in my mind, in La Liga. He'll have the highest rated card. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to slap a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Check out my socials down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.